Okay, so this is Amber Aviles. She's a voice artist, and today she's going to talk to us about what she does in her profession of voiceover and doing character voices and things like that. So welcome to Animateducated. What originally got you interested in acting, doing this line of work?
I think I enjoyed obviously watching cartoons as a kid. I didn't think it was a real profession. I just thought they were just our friends on TV. But as I got older and I started taking acting classes when I was in college, my teacher suggested I do stand-up and voice acting when I got back home to Los Angeles. And I started taking voice classes or voice acting classes. And then I made a demo, and then I got an agent and started auditioning and booking work here and there. And I love that I can be any character, from a little bunny to a female soldier with a rough, gravelly voice kind of thing. So the whole spectrum is there and available to voice actors. You don't physically have to look the part, which I find to be a huge advantage because it just makes us versatile, which is great and what I love doing. So it's always fun.
So can you do like a rougher voice? I mean, how would that sound? Like if you were doing like a different voice or
Well, I can go this deep and add a little gravel to it. But is it believable? I'm not sure. I don't know if it's that marketable,
Oh, that sounds pretty good. You sound like a rough guy or something,
I really don't know what that is, but I've had that one since I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
Because what got me into like changing my voice was watching Dodgers games as a kid and growing up with Vin Scully always in my ears, and so I always pretended to be like him, and so I'd always try to do a man voice, but obviously I can't do a man voice, so that's as deep as it got. But that would be my impression of Vin, which sounds nothing like him. But I knew that I could change my voice.
Let me ask you this. So how long have you been doing this voice work?
I started in 2004, and then on and off throughout my career on my day job and, survival jobs here and there. So, but now it's been fun. It's taken a lot of classes, studied with a whole bunch of different coaches. Like today, I just had a lesson with Lori Allen, who plays Pearl on SpongeBob SquarePants, and she was also Bonnie's mom from Toy Story 4. And
cool.
So yeah, she's been great. I love her. So we just gotta keep your chops polished and just keep working those auditions.
So when you go into these classes, I mean, do they focus on? Do you come in with like I need to work on this and this, and or do they just kind of have a general?
Well, there's different coaches for different genres within voiceover. So for Lori, for example, she's huge in animation and commercials. So for today, we focused on animation read and her take on my voice and what I can improve upon when I looked at the script and the analysis of it, the breakdown, how choosing a point of view and adding an emotion, etc. Like all those things that we normally do innately, but kind of taking it a step further to actually take that initiative. And like when you have coaches for commercial, what does that conversational read sound like? Who are you talking to? Are you doing like a TED Talk, or are you talking to your best friend that's only 3 feet away from you kind of thing? You have to pinpoint those situational items in the script and determine your read from there, and hopefully that books your audition, or the job, I should say. I would recommend for those that are thinking about starting in voiceover to take an acting class. Not specifically voiceover yet, but test the waters, because voice acting is acting. So take an acting class. And I also recommend taking improv and then venture into voice acting classes.
Now, a lot of people, there's this whole agent thing that happens. Do you have an agent, by the way?
I do.
You do? Okay.
Yes.
So how did that come about? I'm assuming that you've done enough work that you had something that you could show an agent?
Like on-screen actors have their headshots. The
Mm,
headshot for a voice actor is their demo.
mm,
So a demo is usually about a minute long, capturing different genres of the industry. You'll have an animation demo, a commercial demo, promo, narration, corporate, something, whatever the case may be. So usually when actors are going into voice acting to start out, they'll make a commercial demo because that's where the money is. You want the voices that you have nurtured and created. If it's an impression of Yosemite Sam, but taken to the ninth level, you've given him a different twang or an attitude. And so it doesn't sound like Yosemite Sam, but it's your character and your take on something. Absolutely go for it. That's where a lot of voices come from. Like Maurice LaMarche, who plays the brain on Pinky and the Brain, that's his version of Orson Welles. It's not Orson Welles, it's Maurice LaMarche playing Brain. And that was his source. So, yes, create voices using those famous characters if you want as a source, but your rendition of it, and go from there. Absolutely, because you're you. Your voice print is very unique. Whether you can manipulate it or not doesn't matter. It's the acting behind it. It's the attitude. And that's what agents want to see, that you're versatile in the sense of acting. You can just have one voice and make millions of dollars in this business, or you can have a multitude of them and barely making scale. But you're showing off your talent. It's your business card, your
mhm.
headshot, your reason why they should represent you. When you're first starting out, a lot of actors will go non-union first, either commercially. All animation is done union.
Mhm.
So commercial, you can do non-union or union. We obviously, those that are in the union recommend that voice actors take only union jobs. But obviously, to get those union auditions, you have to have an agent. In order to have an agent, you should already be working.
Kind of like that catch 22 kind of thing. You got to have an
Exactly.
agent. But how do I get an agent? Well, you got to do a lot of jobs. Well, how do I get jobs? Well, you got an agent.
Exactly. But there are voice actors making six figures or more that only do non-union commercial work.
Mm.
So that has increased significantly over the last few years. And I'm not going to get political about it, but a lot of people feel those actors shouldn't be doing non-union commercial work because it decreases, or I should say, a lot of corporations or those that are hiring for these jobs will understand that as an opportunity to get talent for a cheaper rate versus going the union route where you have residuals, where you have benefits and coverage and etc. So yes, it may be more expensive, but you're also going to be getting paid more, significantly more than non-union work. So you'll start out with that typically, and you'll start emailing your MP3, or if you have a website already, that as well, to different agencies. And whether those agents respond is a different story. Usually, if they do, they'll ask maybe for a phone call, conference call, or have you come in just so that you can meet them face to face. And they'll have you read some copy. By copy, I mean scripts that they've already auditioned their clients with, just to see how you cold read. And then they'll provide direction as if you were actually recording a gig, and see how you take direction, because those are really important factors. And they'll see how you are as a person, and it goes from there. If you and it's not just the agent's decision too, it's also the actor. I mean, if you don't vibe with a certain person right off the bat, you don't want them representing you.
Mm.
So that relationship is really important. And then from there, you get signed on. Usually it's a year contract to have exclusive representation, and they'll start sending you auditions, hopefully immediately, and then you'll start working based on that. But yeah, that again, there's different agents. You have commercial agents, you have animation agents, promo, uh, etc. So you just really have to hone in on your research and figure out who you want to submit to. And if you have a reference, that's even better, because that adds a personal touch, that an advantage over a lot of other actors that don't have that. They're more likely to listen to your demo and maybe talk to that person that made the reference. And you can have agents in different regions of the country too. Like for me, for example, I've got an agent in London. I've got one in Minneapolis, somewhere in Nebraska. I can't remember the city. And I have one in LA. So there's different regions of the country that can get you non-union work or non-union auditions. But when you become union, that's a little bit different. You might have an exclusive contract with an agent across the country, or maybe just the West Coast. You might have a New York agent possibly in the same agency. So it just depends. There's a whole bunch of different situations. But yeah, the actor will usually go find the agent. There's a resource called the Voiceover Resource Guide. And on that website, it provides all the agencies in Los Angeles and New York. And it's not as many as on-screen acting, so it's probably maybe 25 to 30 agencies overall. And so from there, you can kind of look at their websites, determine who might be a best fit for you, look at their demos of their clients that they represent. Does anyone sound like you? If they have a large sample of people that sound like you, the chances are pretty slim that they're going to pick you up, because they're looking for voices that they don't have. Or they're, you know what I mean? Like, they don't want 5 voices that or I shouldn't say 5. They don't want 20 voices that sound like me, because they're not going to devote enough time to my career as they are to those other 25.
Right.
So it just depends on where they are, but it never hurts to try. I would email everybody and see what happens. Once you have your demos made, it's come in the form of an MP3, obviously, because we're not in the age of CDs anymore, like back in the day, or cassettes, for example. So you just email the MP3 to those agents if you can obtain their personal email, and send it off. Now, some agencies actually have directions on how to submit for representation, so definitely follow those guidelines. Because if you can't follow those, then they won't represent you. They'll say, like, oh, she wasn't reading. She doesn't know what she's doing. Sometimes. Because they're very busy. Say you've booked the job for an animated series and you go into the studio under normal life situation, pre-pandemic, and the director will be there on the side of the glass, and then you'll go with the engineer into the other side of the studio, and they size your mic, and then they'll just say, okay, go ahead and we love what you did with the audition, repeat it. And then you repeat it, and you have maybe some writers or producers in the background saying, hey, let's try it this way. Of course, you don't hear that in your headphones because they're off microphone. So they might provide a suggestion. Okay, so hit this punchline better, or make it funnier here in line 4, blah, blah, blah. And, changing the emotion, whatever the case may be. So they'll give you that kind of direction, or they might give you a line read if it's not too, like if it doesn't infringe upon the actor, if they don't take it personally. I like line reads. If the director tells me how they want it, and you can deliver it that way, saves them time and money. So, and if there's time for like improv, or sometimes they'll ask you, do you have anything else? And then you say, you know what, can I try it this way? Say, sure. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But with that said, though, now we're in a time where we have so many different streaming services and content up the wazoo. It's not just 3 networks on Saturday morning having 4 cartoons, and that's it. And those VO players at that time are maybe only 25 at the most, getting all that work back then. I mean, now obviously there's thousands of voice actors now, and it's even more difficult to get into the business than before. But at the same time, there's a lot more content available, a lot more auditions for different things.
Yeah, I remember there was a myth going around saying that, oh, you shouldn't get into voiceover work because they've already got like the people that do that, and it's kind of a tightly knit group, so they're not going to let you in. It's kind of like the mob, it's like. So what life experiences have you had that have been helpful in becoming a voiceover artist?
I think not just only obviously taking classes and working with different instructors and meeting people that are well established in the business, but when I first started in show business, if you will, I was an extra back when I was in college. And obviously that's on screen, but getting to see all of the different parts coming together to make a movie or a TV show, and then kind of seeing how the mechanics of an animated series or a commercial for voiceover come together. Everybody has a distinct job, and understanding what a casting director does, what an agent does, what the producers are responsible for, and respecting the writers on what they put on paper. As a voice actor, you have to respect that and ask if you can play it with improv when recording or not. But it's besides the point. That has helped not only to give me patience and understanding of what's going on, but also realizing that you can't take things personal in this business. You know, and I think that mindset really helps.
Have you done any recording when there's like a group of people in the recording studio and it's you and someone else, and how's
Yes,
that
and
situation?
that's great. That's ideal because you're able to feed off the energy of the other actors in the room. Typically, you're there by yourself, which is fine too because that means you got the job. But you're by yourself. It's not as fun as being with other actors who may be your friends or not. But either way, you get to bounce off the comedic timing that they present and not just hear it in your head and make it up as you go. I think it's the best way to record. Absolutely.
What tips would you give to people if you're working with like a voice director or a director during the job that you're doing?
When you walk in, ask them how they're doing and say
Ah,
hi.
oh, okay.
Just be personable, be nice, always be nice.
Okay. So you don't just walk in and go, "Yeah, hi, how you doing? Oh, today oh right, this thing."
I'm not in the mood today, darling. I'm sorry. Can we do this tomorrow?
I asked for chocolate cashews. These are regular. Um, you don't do that
Only on Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Okay.
But the recommendations I would say, obviously be respectful of everyone's time, do what you were hired to do, and if they direct you a certain way, go with it, play and have fun. With respect to technical things, for example, don't wear a sweatshirt or a jacket that's noisy. Don't wear bracelets. Turn off if you have got a watch that's like electronic or something. Put it on airplane mode. Same thing with your phone. Keep your phone outside. Don't even risk it. And have a bottle of water and bring a pencil.
Oh,
And don't have any milk or dairy products the day of. Because that creates like a chalky, lathery texture to your voice. It's not good.
okay.
Have a green apple. That's what they recommend, yeah. And don't put any perfume on or cologne. And make sure you take a shower that day.
Oh yeah, that would help.
Because you're in a closed box, and if you have other people that you're working with, they might have an allergic reaction to the scent that you're wearing, or so you want to go in as neutral as possible.
So now, would you be wearing your face mask now? I mean, that be the microphone's there, and you're like, you got a natural filter, like so.
Right.
So the peas, potato, pop, 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 pop.
They're not popping.
No popping. You got this, right?
Totally. I would also recommend checking out VO Buzz Weekly is a great podcast. They interview all different types of professionals in the voiceover industry to give you a perspective of what they do, what they look for in talent, etc. And then also, there's a voice actor named D. Bradley Baker. He's an awesome creature. Will create any kind of creature sound you can't even imagine, and he can do it. He's also a great actor over. I mean, he's done tons of stuff. You IMDb him, his list is miles long. Well, he has a great website called, I think, iwannabeavoiceactor.com or something like that, but just Google his name, D. Bradley Baker, and it'll come up. And he has a great Q&A section from beginners to even professionals that are well established that can obtain new and current information. His website's really, really good.
I want to thank Amber for coming on Animateducated and telling us about what she does as a voiceover artist. Okay.
Well, thank you for having me on. This has been so much fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in and talking to us. And
of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, and just say your website one more time so I'll put up.
Sure. My website is ambertheactor.com.
Okay. All right. So if you need any voiceover work, you should talk to Amber.
Keep on going no matter what anyone tells you. It's a long career. It's going to take a while. But once you get there, it's worth it. That's all I have to say.
That's it. Okay. There you go. That's easy enough.